The one area that there was a slight disagreement in your answers was the one-to-one tech, and I'd like you to explain why you were a no on one-to-one for all levels. Okay. And then I'd like to hear from the three others about how come they were a yes.
Okay. So I believe that our youngest and newest students to education need more time for exploratory learning through play and social opportunities. Our students need to build a foundation of problem solving with others in safe and healthy social settings that our public schools provide. It's important to provide access to one-to-one technology once the students graduate from their early primary years. I'm definitely not against bringing our students into the 21st century with technology, but we need to make sure that we are doing it correctly. There have been, I'll just stop there.
So I answered yes. I don't know that one-to-one necessarily means take home a device when you're in kindergarten, but I think that if I have a problem with my iPad or my phone, I can hand it to a kindergartner and they could probably diagnose it for me, right? So I do believe that 21st century jobs are going to require the use of technology, and we got to start our kids young. I don't think that they need to have screen time the entire school day. I think there needs to be a good balance between play and learning and reading and learning from each other, but I think that technology is a part of that.
I would have to agree with Julie. I chose yes. From my experience, in the 3rd grade, students start taking the SBAC test, the state standardized testing, and they do so on devices. I know when my son was in the 3rd grade and was taking his test or starting taking his test, one of the biggest struggles he had was that he didn't know how to type. I was concentrating on teaching him how to write legibly because I couldn't read his handwriting, and was told that he needed to learn how to type. So I think we need to teach our children at an early age how to operate the computers and type so that they're successful in their test taking.
Okay, so I have a personal story in support of our one-to-one devices for all age groups. My now 2nd grader, when she was in kindergarten, I was working with her team, and she's on an IEP, and we were trying to figure out a way for her to retain the information she learned in school that year for the next year. And so she was actually the only kindergartner that was allowed to do the Lexia program on the tablet at home during the summer, and also extra math. And she did really well, and she went back to school the next year and retained a lot of the information she had learned. And I feel like that was very helpful to have those learning apps for her in the summertime, so she didn't have to start all over again.
Okay, let me ask you if you have researched the effect of technology beginning at kindergarten, and if so, what have you discovered about that?
So yes, and I've discovered that children need more of those social settings and those play opportunities. They actually are able to develop in all ways, academic, social, with a better, more solid foundation when they're allowed those opportunities. Too much screen time for our kids is tough. I know that we do have those standardized tests in the 3rd grade. However, research doesn't show that starting them in kindergarten helps with getting those tests done any better than if they started in 1st grade.
I haven't done any formal research, but I do know that even my eye doctor has told me that I have too much screen time. And I work in a bank or a financial institution, so of course I'm in front of the screen, and that's how we do our reading now, our news. It's how we pick up everything. I'm not in favor of a young child being in front of a screen all day long at school, but I do think they need to be introduced to it. They're being introduced to it at home. We need to be able to start teaching them with technology at a young age, and I don't see any harm of it as long as there's a balance between all of those other things.
I've never done research. The one-to-one initiative is actually fairly new within our schools, so there isn't a lot of, I think, data to give out a real answer on the effects. I agree that no, they should not be on it all day long. It should be during certain times to be able to do reading or writing. I know on the new one-to-ones that are coming out within Evergreen, they actually will come with styluses and they're able to learn how to write, so they're not losing their paper to pen learning atmosphere, which is I am in complete support of. So my 3-year-old plays on my iPad. I mean, there's no way to avoid it.
I agree with the last statement. That I feel the kids are going to be on tablets and such anyways. I know when it's in school, it's for a limited amount of time, and I feel like if they're choosing to be on the tablets at home, if they're on a learning app versus watching YouTube videos about mystery bag things that you open, I feel like it's better if they're doing a learning app and they're actually getting something out of it that's productive.
And this is final on the technology, but I'm just a yes or no. As a matter of fact, I mean, just raise your hand if you know. Does the district have a policy in place about what all of you have said, I think, and that is that the time must be a balanced and in some cases supervised? Is there a policy? Raise your hand if you know one. Oh, well, good. That's good you know. Can you tell us about the policy?
Well, the policy in really our one-to-one learning initiative, it's so much more about the technology. In fact, we went down this road about 3 or 4 years ago as a board, and it was really about individualized learning for every student. And the technology is a part of it, but it's not the main component. It's really about meeting students' needs, and the technology is a tool. The technology is a tool for them to find, more information that they can about the whole world. And we all know that when you buy a set of textbooks, they're obsolete in a few years because the world is changing faster and faster than what a textbook can do. So we need to get that information in our kids' hands, and we need to make it equitable. It's part of being equitable around the whole system and making sure that all kids have access to those devices. But it's really about the learning and the support initiative that goes along with it.
Any of the other 3 who haven't spoken about that want to say anything about what the policy should be, or?
I think the district's doing a great job. I think our teachers are managing it really well.
Did the teachers receive education on how to use the technology?
Yes.
They've done focus.
You say no. And you work in the district, so.
No, I don't work in.
Oh, you don't?
No, I
You
don't
work
work
in
in the
Hawkins,
Evergreen
so-
district,
yeah,
right.
okay.
I believe that they put some pilot programs in place, so a small group were able to learn about some of that one-to-one technology that came in. But I really feel that we need to make sure that all of our teachers have training.
Yes.
I know that actually York Elementary, where my students go, were one of the pilot schools to start this out last year. And actually before that, even the PTA purchased Chromebooks for the school. I know that some of the teachers at York were a little apprehensive over it, but by the end of the year, the amount of work that they were able to get done and the way that they were able to personalize the service for the kids or the education for the kids was amazing. And each one of those teachers that I've ever spoke to about it are in full support. I also know and I believe that all the teachers are going into a training this summer, a week-long training on how to use the new curriculum.
Okay, good.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
We have had innovation centers. We had schools that wrote proposals, teachers across our district that wrote proposals on wanting to be innovation centers. There was more schools that wrote proposals and wanted to be than we could have, but we've had individual teachers in different places. They've been kind of the ones that have been getting it off the ground running, and we actually, because technology is technology, we actually had a glitch with our technology at one point, but it's getting worked out. But then teachers were like, we need the technology, we're ready to go. So our teachers are ready, and our other teachers have been learning from them, and I'm really excited to see what's going to come out from it. But we have had professional development around this too, throughout the last couple of years.